Today, we will cover about DAX. The motto of the presentation is DAX is simple. You have a question why we said that word here, DAX is simple. There are a lot of DAX functions which is available there, but as a developer, we are not supposed to do or utilize all of the DAX function. There are key DAX function which I would like to present here and give a brief uh, detail about how to we can utilize the dash function effectively. Instead, without knowing or having any kind of knowledge, we are googling and try to find what is the appropriate function. And if we know the DAX categorization and the functions are good enough as a proactive in one place, that is easy for us. That will save our time, and we can effectively use our effort in doing or in creating the complex or the medium or a simple DAX function. Having an overall knowledge about DAX, it's good to, and it's a nice one for any developer. They can use the appropriate and the effective DAX function without thinking about which function can I go ahead with that and which would be the optimal, which would be the simple. As by the practice, if we think any on the dax function, we immediately go to the dash function which we are familiarized with that. And what if there are other functions too available which we are not yet familiarized, and this is the one place of the document, the presentation will tell you about how to navigate or how to explore the all the function in a single Excel sheet that we provided here. So what I did is I did a simple categorize with a subject, and I made with Excel sheet. I went through that Dark Studio, and it has a document. I make use of the Dark Studios link here, and I made this simple Excel sheet with this subject actually. And I do have some comments actually section. This will be a few comments that I placed it typed here for understanding. And you can see this is the categorized of your DAX function, and this is your DAX functions names. And we are also parallelly map the DAX functions name with DAX Studio reference. Once you click on this DAX Studio reference, the click that will navigate to your DAX Studio, and it is easy for you to navigate to the appropriate functions from the Excel sheet. And other thing is you will know the ABS is falls under which category, right? It falls under your math. That is nothing but your absolute value. I hope this give a kind of a overview of this DAX function. How we made this DAX function is we do have a function called info function actually. Using this, I made an Excel sheet, and I created this Excel sheet actually. So you can see, right? And here, and you can see, let's say if I want, let's say filter function, right? If I'm just clicking on the filter, I know that how much there are 68 filter functions available here. As you are a DAX, as you are a PBA developer, you are not supposed to work on all the 68 DAX functions, but at least you need to know the functionality of the DAX function of all 68. You may not supposed to work or experience, or you may utilize all the 68 functions in your any of your project. Widely, we used this all all class filter except and no blank all selector. This can be widely we used it, and add columns we used it, and calendar we use for timetable, and calculate table if you go ahead and you can create your any subset of a table from a base table. And calculate, inside a calculator we can use our filter functions. And database table you are not supposed to, and details rows we are not, and distinct we are extent widely used. And earliest when you go with row by row, if you want to see the previous row at the time you can use the earlier list and except. And the filter we predominantly use that, and filters also predominantly use that. When you're generating any values 1 to 10, you want to generate a kind of a list, especially this we predominantly use in our power query, and generate all, and generate series. And this is for ignore any if you have any null values for a particular row. If you want to show that a salesman with a null who haven't made any sales, you want to display the salesman at the time, you can use this ignore filter. And this intersect filter we know that, and this after, and this filter we are not supposed to use extensively, but keep filter we are using on top of the all filter actually, that will retain your filter conditions. And lookup value we use to have a lookup some values. Let's say if you have a product 001 that has a product name as apple, like that actually. And the relative table, we know that relate and related table when we are supposed to use, when you have more than one table at the time, you may use the relate and relate table. And remove filters we used as a slicer. And row we are supposed to use to find the number of rows in a table. And select column if you want to select a subset of table from a table, you can use it. And select measures, this is you can use for the calculated measures. You can do let's say if you deal with the time dimensions, you can use the select mission so that the user can select either qtd, ytd, or mtd, like that. And apart from this, the selected value we predominantly use here, and summarize is a subset of table. On top, and we use that. And pre-toss we used for when you involve two table without join, you can make through tax join. And union we know that user relationship when you're supposed to use, when you have a relationship more than one relationship between the dimension fact at the time, use the user relationship or inactive relationship actually, the values we are using. Out of 60 48, we are not supposed to use all the 48. Maybe we are extensively use, maybe hardly I would say 18 to 20 plus, not extensively on the 48. So predominantly we use inside of calculate we use the filter functions, and same with the other functions as well. Predominantly we use it. And when you're supposed to go with this time dimension, yes, in time dimension predominantly see the count of there is 59 functions are there, and out of which we are not predominantly used all these 59 functions. But apart from this, the closing balance, these are financial related, which are not supposed to use. But except if you from a date to date value, we are extensively date, we are extensive, and e date end of month, we are not supposed to use extensively. It is less user when compared to that. And end of month and end of quarter, we are not using that much of thing. It is very rarely used based on your thing actually. And this dates, MTD, YTD, QTD, we are extensively using. Date values also we are extensively using it. And first month, the first date or first blank, we are not extensively using, but we need to know about when we supposed to do that. And when you go with this time functions, definitely we need